Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be ranking all the Risk of Rain 2 characters. There's some of them that are kind of not good and some of them that are good, so let's get into it. Starting off with Acrid. First off, I'm just going to say Acrid has probably the worst, or I should say most gross skin, alternate skin in the game, man. It kind of looks sus. It's all slimy and stuff, it's kind of gross. But overall, Acrid is just not working, man. This dude has no coverage for anything to help himself out as being a melee character. By far the worst melee character. You know, you're spreading COVID to everybody. That's really about the only thing you can do when you jump with your shift. It's pretty bad, honestly. I mean, you're gonna hit the ground, maybe spread some poison on the ground. You're spitting on people. The ult is not. It's like a contagious plague thing. I call it spreading COVID. It hits, I guess, air units. This dude sucks at hitting anything in the air. Acrid, it's just you have to basically get a bunch of items to make this dude even worthwhile playing. Pretty much boosting his attack speed is going to be your best option, and then maybe boosting a few, like getting the ukulele and just AoE attacks items. That's about it. I mean, Acrid's just not it. It's just not it. Moving on, we got Artificer. The primary is just really awkward to use, man. You don't got any benefit from getting attack speed up. You just shoot out 4 projectiles and have to wait till they respawn. It's not beneficial. The cool passive, you know, when she can fly around, float around, that's always neat. Her alternate of her ult, that's cool because you can fly in the air and then shoot your little plasma balls that explode towards the ground. The ice wall is neat. I like using the ice wall. It's not good against bosses, but just kind of getting out in a pinch, it's fine. And then, like I said, if you fly above everybody, it makes you feel really neat. And for that alone, it's a really fun character to play. It's just not the greatest at really anything aside from crowd control. But even at that, I feel like just there's better characters for that, really. And with items like ukulele and the rockets, I mean, you don't really need a huge character dedicated to that, essentially. Next up, we got Bandit. This is the first best character, one of the best characters in the game, in my opinion. Bandit has an amazing utility that allows him to basically dash in and out of fights with being iframes, being able to be invisible. Very versatile with that ability. His ult just does a ton of damage. It just really does. And then if you kill something, it resets all your cooldowns. The glaive is kind of, it's okay. But I mean, I guess if you're up close to somebody, you want to get closer, you can slash them. And the hemorrhaging is really nice because the hemorrhaging allows, it just does damage over time, which is never a bad thing. So you just hemorrhage someone and you can do it over and over again. It stacks, if I'm not mistaken. The primary fire is like Artificer's, but it reloads faster. And with the alternate fire, you can reload it instantly and keep firing. So, and the other thing is the alternate fire, or the ult, is very short. It's like 3 or 4 seconds. So, altogether, I think Bandit is just high damage output, very versatile with staying alive. Just a good, solid character out of the gate. I mean, you're not going to go wrong picking him, essentially. Next up, we got Captain. Captain is kind of mid to below mid. I think this dude is one of the more, just straight up, like, not that great of a character to play, especially for higher difficulties if you're playing by yourself. The shotgun is just too slow to start out with. There's 1 second cooldown per shot. And that might not be a huge deal for the first, like once you get your items and stuff, but for the first couple of levels, man, that is brutal. You can increase it with attack speed, but you're replacing a utility with your, basically a missile or a laser beam, if I'm not mistaken. And that's just, it's just not good. You have a slow movement with not many iframes, if at all. Your beacon is cool because I guess you can call down like a healing beacon to support you or a stun beacon to stun enemies. I mean, maybe when you're playing with your friends it's a good character, but when you're playing by yourself, man, you're kind of like just getting fried out there. You're too slow to do anything. Your attacks are kind of slow. That's really the biggest issue with them, but it does do a lot of damage, so it's not the most, in my opinion, bad character, but it's definitely not a pick you should pick if you're going to be playing by yourself. Maybe if you're playing with friends, you can get away with it. Next up, we got Commando. Commando is your first character, so Commando is going to be pretty bare bones. I mean, you just got your basically default fire, which just shoots a ranged projectile up to about mid-range. It does do fall-off damage, but really you're most effective about mid-range to short range. Your utility is pretty cool. I mean, you slide around on the ground, so it makes you feel like you're playing like Call of Duty. This is probably the most Call of Duty feel character in the game. And then your alternate fire shoots, you can basically shoot your basic fire at a much rapider rate. Your specialty allows you to shoot basically a big laser beam, and it's probably the most useful thing he does. So you shoot a big laser beam, and the more enemies it collides with, the more damage it deals down the line. So the first enemy, it won't do as much damage as it would to the last enemy. The last enemy might be like triple the amount that it would deal to the first enemy. So you can basically line people up or line enemies up and then blast them, you know. So, I mean, that is cool about the Commando. Altogether, it's not a bad character, but the amount of damage output it does regardless, with just its basic kit, is not a whole lot. You have to do a lot to get it to work. So I'm putting it in the getting it a lot to get it to work category. The Engineer is really a strong pick, but it's not up there because a lot of his build is revolving around items and getting those items onto your turns. So you're going to be playing this game to build up your turns, because the default attack with this dude is just not good. It is pretty bad, honestly. It's one of the worst in the game. It's not horrible because you still do damage, but it just doesn't do a lot of damage. And it's just kind of awkward to use because it's like a short range lobbing thing. You kind of like throw grenades out if you're like back there, and it's kind of just weird. Now you put the mines down depending on which one you're down. You can put the roaming ones or you can put the stationary ones. The stationary ones do more damage if they set down and they get placed in. The roaming ones just do damage up front, so they might be more beneficial for that. But the shield, in my opinion, for this character is just better all around than the missiles that you can use for an alternate utility. The shield will cover your turrets and yourself, and you can sit inside your shield. That's why. So you want your turrets to get as many items as possible. So for the first level or two, it's going to be kind of rough. Mainly the first level because you're kind of getting all the items and everything like that. The second level, if you farm a little bit before you do the fight, you should have a lot of items, which will make your turrets good. And they do pretty good damage out of the gate. So altogether, I'm putting this in a strong start. You have like I said, it's not like the best character out of the gate, but it does enough damage and survivability is pretty easy. The only downside is it's slow. You can't move fast with the Engineer. Even when you're sprinting, you're still slow. So altogether, it's really a just kind of a slow start character-ish, but it's overall a great character in my opinion. Heretic, I'm putting this in the goofing around category off the bat. This character, first off, you have to get 4 items from the lunar area. Call it Newt. So you go to Newt's house and you say, "Hey Newt, I want these 4 items." Okay. If you don't have the artifact where you can pick your own items, you're going to go up to Newt and say, "Hey, re-roll these for me like 2 or 3 times." And Newt's still going to be like, "But no, I'm not going to give you them." So, I mean, there's that. So it's super RNG related to even get this character. When you get them, you just should be playing the other characters, because frankly the utility is not that great in my opinion. You might get it a little bit faster with the speed boost, but when I used it, this thing was slow AF. You were literally just floating around, about to be like a bullet magnet as soon as you get out of it. There's no there is huge iframes. You don't get hit when you're in it, and you heal back, but you move really, really slow from what I was testing with. And the primary fires, like the Needler from Halo, where you shoot them and then it explodes later. That's not good in this game, man. You want to kill things as fast as possible. I don't want to sit there and wait 5 seconds for my freaking Needlers to explode, okay? That's not fun. I want them to die instantly when I shoot my gun. The specialty where you basically charge a razor blade or like kind of a glaive from your like midsection and shoot it out, it's okay. I mean, it does damage, I guess, but it's just not a great. I feel like there's just better ones out there, and it only does it in a certain area. It's kind of bad. The ult is pretty good, I guess. It does a lot of burst damage, so you can just straight up just nuke someone if you use it right, which I guess is the more beneficial part of Heretic. But again, it's going in the goofing around territory because 1, you have to unlock them. 2, it's a lot of RNG unless you have the artifact on. And 3, I just don't think this character even stands up against like the top characters in this game. Like, I don't even think it's as good as Engineer, to be totally honest. So yeah, this character's going in the goofing around category. Huntress is up next. Huntress has auto-locking arrows, which is extremely, extremely good for console players. The arrows do a lot of damage. You can increase it with attack speed, and you get more items, and it makes them better. So you're looking at a really solid character out of the gate for especially console players and PC players alike. With that said, you also have a special that allows you to basically rain down. No, the special, my bad, that was the ult. The ult rains down arrows, which is really good for a specific area. It does a lot of damage. The special basically bounces a boomerang type weapon or glaives or shrinkins. It's a throwing weapon, and it shoots out and then hits 6 enemies, and the more enemies you hit, the higher damage it deals. So you're looking at a lot of damage just from your default primary, and then you throw this thing out, and it can take out basically anything in the air pretty easily because most things in the air don't have that much health. So you're looking at a really solid character here. The blink ability is super nice. You go through the air and you're just teleporting all over the place, getting those iframes, not getting hit by anything, and then you're just doing tons of damage afterward. I think Huntress on console is an S tier. Because there's not that many, there's a lot of characters on console that are just very hard to use because they don't have auto lock, and there's a lot of things going on the screen at once, so you have to kind of, get items like Ukulele to balance that out. But on PC, I would put it in A tier. So a lot of people would probably argue S tier. This probably is from personal preference on my side. I don't use Huntress a ton, but I know it's a good character, so I'm putting it in A tier. Loader is great. Loader is one of my favorite characters to play as just for how fun it is. Extremely fun character, man. You just Falcon Punch everything, and you just grapple onto everything. So you can grapple on the walls and Falcon Punch off of it. You're doing like combos from fighting games on like freaking jellyfishes. It's awesome. You're grappling onto them, you're beating them up. You can punch through things. The best thing is you get Topaz and Ukulele up front. You have an insanely good kit. The only downside of this character is probably their ult. The ult kind of sucks. You throw like a little saucer in the air and it kind of does some electric damage thing. It's not that great. You can put it on the ground, it does the same thing, but it hits ground units, I guess. But man, when the loader is going crazy, it's going crazy. You kill things, you get Topaz, so you're over here generating overshields with a melee character. Like, that's crazy. And then you Falcon Punch something with the alternate Falcon Punch, and then it shoots lightning waves from the first enemy into the enemies behind it. I mean, there's no downside to this character, man. This character is just good. It's good. Instantly good. High damage output, high mobility, extremely effective. That's all you need in this game. High damage, high mobility, and this character has it. And then items are just a bonus. Next up, we got Mercenary. Mercenary is good. I think Mercenary is a solid character. It is the definition of if you can't hit me, I can't die. That's how this character works. You get 3 blinks, so you get to have 3. If you hit an enemy, you get to go through him again with your invincibility frames. If you hit him again, then you go through him again with another invincibility frames, and then once you're done with those invincibility frames, then you go into your ult, which is another invincibility frame while doing damage, and then you get out of that and you use your special to hit him again for 2 extra damage with 2 hits that do a ton of damage. And then you slice him up a few times, and then you blink through him again with your utility, and then you just repeat the cycle and over again. Essentially, your whole point with this character is to never take damage while dealing a ton of damage. The issue is that the damage without items is not that great. At the footage, you'll see me using gasoline, which will burn the enemies over time, but it's not just the straight up mercenaries damage. It's really the mercenary combined with gasoline. The mercenary by themselves really doesn't do a lot of damage to kind of balance out the iframes, because it is ridiculous, man. You basically go invincible for half of this dude's time frame while you're using them, or 80% of it or something like that. It's super hard to hit him. If you get Topaz, this dude probably becomes the most nearly invincible character in the entire game. But all in all, I'm gonna put him in B tier just because I think he's really fun to play. But I don't think his damage output is there unless you get items. I'm kind of basing a lot of this stuff, I should have said this up front, but I'm basing all this stuff off of when you just get them, how good are they? Out of the gate, essentially. So I think there's a little setup involved here. If you get the attack speed up, insanely good. If you get anything that has regenerating shields like Topaz, extremely good, like every other character in the game. But yeah, moving on. We got Multi, Wally, as I like to call him, and we got rebars out the wazoo on this one. Rebars for days. That's all you do with this character. You hold basically the R key. For me, it's keyboard, so R, or you hold your Alt key and you just trade rebars left and right. And you just basically point your cursor onto anything that moves with rebars and you just shoot them. In general, that's how you're going to kill anything. Anything with this character, you're going to kill them with rebars. You can use your utility, which basically gives them shields. And then you run around on your little like go-kart thing and you're like called like transport something. And then you get on your wheels and you go like fast mode through the lanes, and if you hit anything it does damage, so it's pretty fun to use them. I just think using the abilities is kind of awkward because I feel like if I don't want to hold the Alt key down the entire time, so I'd rather like to not do that and just have it be that by default where it just does the rebar thing, because it's faster to shoot it if you hold the Alt key down. That's the whole reason why you do that. I would like it if they just made that the default button for that. They don't even need to have the Alt anymore. You just rebar into a rebar. I know there's a way you can set it up to where you do an alternate, but the rebars just do so much damage. That's all you're going to use. And then the stun grenade, it's not that great. I really think the stun grenade is just not even a factor into this character. It's there if you want to use it to get out of a pinch situation, but you just, I guess, stun someone or run away. That's about it. That's Wally in a nutshell, or Multi. I think it's a good character. I think the fun factor is what drives it down, and I think this character was extremely good before the patch for the DLC. It's just now, it's just kind of my opinion, like it's there, but it's not like great, if that makes sense. Next up, we got Railgunner. I'm gonna be totally honest, this might be user error, but when I used this character in playtesting earlier today, holy frick, man, I could not kill anything to save my life. High damage output, the highest damage output in the entire game, but it comes with a severe trade-off. So in order to use that high damage output, you have to stand still practically to shoot something in their weak point. So with your special, you go down, you lock size, hit them in their weak point, it does more damage. That's cool and all, but you have to stand nearly still for the first stages. So with that said, it's harder to kill something when you're standing still, because with all the stuff coming from the air, the ground, and all that when you're in a boss environment, it's hard to kill things. Now you might say, oh, well, just use your ult, which does incredible. It takes out 3/4 of the boss's HP. Okay, you do that. Let's say you do that. Well, now your entire kit's down. So now you have to run away with your repulsion mines, and you're basically running away by getting basically propulsed out, which I guess is the way you're supposed to use this character. But the utility with the mines is kind of weird, because if you time it wrong or you just misclick or something, you can get literally just shoved back into enemies. It's not like a guarantee runaway method either, because you don't have any iframes. The primary fire just is not good. It's auto-locking, but it does less damage than the Huntress, and it's also like mid-range or like shorter range, because I was trying to hit things that I feel like were not that far away, and it was just not locking onto them. So all in all, this character is really good. I feel like if you can get a friend to play with you and you just kind of sit back and dome bosses and like dome like lines of enemies, like that's cool. I think that'd be very helpful. But playing this solo, your first rounds are going to be brutal. It's going to be rough, man. I think even until you later rounds, it's still going to be rough, because you have to really watch where the enemies are, make sure that you're not getting hit by them and everything like that. So Railgun, I'm putting in goofing around, because I really just don't think this character has a lot going for him in terms of survivability by single player standpoints. Rex is cool. I'll be totally honest, I have this dude's alternate skin, but I always found this character to be very awkward to use. When I playtested him earlier today, it was doing a lot of damage. There is a way you can get this character to do absolutely tons of damage. I wasn't 100% aware of how I was doing that. I just know I was doing that with my R ability, and that was really cool. You heal yourself with this character, so you kind of have an inbuilt healing system, which makes your survivability go up. So with a lot of damage and a lot of healing, I would put this character at a B. I would like to go over this character a little bit more. This is my least known character in the game, to be honest. I just found him to be kind of awkward. I'd really put him like a B minus if I was to put him like a tier below this. I can't put him in C because he's not as bad as these by any means. But he's like not, in my opinion, he's like B minus. So next up we got Void Fiend. Bro, this dude is crazy. This is like arguably, next to like Loader and Bandit, this is probably, if you want to like, in my honest opinion, this is the best character in the game, 100%. You have his default form, which is the purple form. It really doesn't do a whole lot. It's just kind of like a weaker form of his corruption form, but it can still shoot the lizard dudes in like 1 or 2 hits, and the primary fire is pretty fast. So you're shooting and killing them really fast. You shoot out a plasma ball, kind of like Artificer. That does a lot of AoE stuff, so that's just good in general. Okay, when you can do AoE in this game, it's good, but it's also paired with a lot of singularity stuff. And then your movement speed with your utility is really nice because you get to go in the air, get away from stuff. I think you get some iframes in there too. You can prevent the corruption by holding R, and it sacrifices your health to make you stay in the mode. But that's not really the goal of this character. The goal of this character is to get to the full corruption form and get all the void items on the stage so you get 100% corruption at all times. The more void items you get with this character, the faster you get to become corrupted. And if you get more void items to the point where it's 100%, you stay corrupted 100% of the time. When you're corrupted, bro, you're throwing freaking laser beams. You're throwing laser beams. That's so cool. That's so cool. That's so fun to use. And it does a ton of damage. When you're out here rocking bosses, even at the default level, you're rocking bosses. You're doing what the Railgunner does in like one shot in like a span of like 3 seconds, and you're doing it like for free. Okay, you don't have any downside to this. You can just switch it off and be like, oh, there's something on the ground. Okay, let's just move the laser beam over to this area. Oh, there's something in the area. Move the laser beam over to this area. You know, and then you also, in the corrupted form, you can throw the plasma ball out still, but you don't have to charge it up this time. You just throw it out and it does max damage. There's no downside. And if you stay in the corrupted form, you can literally do the same exact thing and then take health out to stay in the corrupted form even longer. Dude, it's a win-win. And when you're transforming, you gain iframes. You literally transform for free. And as soon as you transform, you can go into your other state, and I think you just get a speed boost. I don't know if that's 100% confirmed. But when I was playing, it seemed like you get a speed boost whenever you transform. So when you transform, it seems like you're faster. So when you use your shift ability or your utility, you're flying up in the air faster, and you can just get away and immediately start blasting people with your beam. It is an incredibly good character. Incredibly good. Like I said, it's probably the best character in the entire game, hands down. Damage output is crazy just by default. There's not enough things I can say about this character that's good. Fast, just like I said, that's always good, and items are just a bonus. You know, that's kind of what I'm saying. So all these characters, the items are like a bonus that make them great after it goes on. I think Bandit, really, I think it'd be like an S minus, but I think it's still an S tier character though. So if I'm ranking all these characters, like from usefulness, probably these two are debatable. I think these two characters are just the worst in the game. Actually, all three of these. Commando's better than these three by a long shot. By an absolute freaking milestone. This character's the worst in the game. Railgunner, if Railgunner, I'm being real, would be like somewhere. If you're playing with friends, it's up here. If you're playing by yourself, it's down here. Okay, that's truthful. That's really how that should go. If you're playing with friends, he's up here. If you're not, it's down here. And I think that's going to wrap it up, folks. Yeah, Void Fiend's great, Loader's great, Bandit's great. And they just get better as time goes on. Everybody else just needs more items. Except the last two. And Heretic, don't play Heretic unless you're just goofing around. That character is just a waste of time. Anyway, folks, I thank you again for watching. And I thank you so much for the support on the last video. Really inspired me to make this one. Got probably the most views I ever had on a video in a while. So thank you again. Hopefully this video was more entertaining, and have a good day. See you.